I
Yeah, of
appreciate
course.
it. And then, man, it's about time. It's
All right.
about time, my boy. Okay. Whew. Yeah, man. Episode 41. I can't believe it, man. We're back here with another one. Welcome back, everybody, to the Rec Room, episode 41 with Bryan Rector. And today we got my man, Marcus Weaver, who we've been getting to know off camera, as well as we got to know just a little bit, just a skosh, when we were together at the U.S. Track Championships in Eugene about a month ago. Marcus, when I first saw you at that track, and of course, like we talked about, I was there for my man Heath Baldwin, Michigan State connection strong. But I also noticed that the decathlon is a very strong and tight-knit group where you guys are interacting with each other, you're having fun with the thing. And then for you, like, you stood out to me because when I was sitting there kind of watching everybody walk off the track on both that Thursday and that Friday, I noticed how willing you were to interact with everybody who was there. And whether it was family, whether it was somebody like me who was just hanging out, whether it was a couple of the young kids who you were asking about kind of what they're up to in their athletic journey and how they're doing. Like, man, tell me about what that was to and what it's like to have the ability to make that impact on people who are there watching you.
Yeah. I think what it comes down to is when I was a young athlete, I always looked up to the athletes who are older than me because I have two older brothers who are 9 years older than 7 years older.
Sure.
So like I was like young, like 8 and 9 years old when they were doing their high school sports and all that, and just like hanging around and like having those people you look up to who actually interact with you is what made a big impact on my life. So then all of a sudden I remember I'm in that moment and these kids are talking to me and I was just like, I want to be as friendly and welcoming and like talkative as I can so I can maybe make an impact on their life. And maybe they'll pursue track, maybe they'll do whatever they want, but it's just like, I'm just going to be friendly because I knew it made an impact on my life when I was young.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Folks, for those of you who don't know, this is Marcus Weaver, who just finished as the fifth place at U.S. Championships. Additionally, has been first place in the SEC, was named an All-American as an Arkansas Razorback, and is somebody who hails from the Midwest originally, and is an avid fisherman, which we will get into. Marcus, thank you for being here, and I'm glad we could hear that insight and then give you a more full introduction.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, like, first off, before we continue with the thing, how are you doing? Are you good?
I'm very good. Yeah. I just came off of a busy little vacation running around after my track season's fully done. So I had a nice little break from track and now I'm back in Fayetteville, ready to get into training. And yeah, life is good.
Now, you're in Fayetteville. And like we say, I got the hat on, man. I wanted to brandish the logo, call the hogs, woo!
Yeah.
But you were not always in Fayetteville. You were at UW Eau Claire.
Yep.
And tell me about like the differences that you've seen between the Division III level and the Division I level. And then I think more importantly, like to set your scene is how the heck you got there to Fayetteville.
Yeah. I think some of the difference I noticed is like I'll do I guess a good one and a bad one.
Sure.
A good thing for D3 is there's no scholarship money.
Mm.
So kids are really there because they love it. Like everybody's there because they're having a good time and like it was just such a good time to be around and there's a family environment and it was a real I loved my time at Eau Claire. Um but then the nice thing about D1 is we have money and resources to put towards like peak performances and top performances. So it's like we really have everything I would need to like succeed at Arkansas. So that's what I really love about this level. And how did I get there? I started at D3 and was just loving my time there and then found myself having more success than I thought I would. So I had four individual national titles there at Eau Claire. I won the decathlon twice and the javelin twice. So after that, I kind of thought to myself, like, I don't want to stay here and just never see my ceiling. I want to go to the highest show and like have to prove myself because like obviously you can look on TFERS online and you can look at all the divisions, and I'm the top of Division 3, but then at the time there was about 15 or more kids who were still better than me at D1. And I was like, I don't want to have this false sense of I'm the best. So I was like, if I want to feel like I can compete with the best, I have to go to the highest level to be able to feel like I'm doing that. So I was like, I was just ready for that change to go up to the highest level and try to prove myself. And then that's what was my decision pretty much.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that when you and I were talking off camera that you had mentioned is that one of the coaches at Arkansas had called you and said, if you want to do it, if you want to do what you just said and compete with the best, that's where you go, is Arkansas. After having been there for a couple of years, how has your experience been as far as reaching that top echelon? And what has also, second part, blown you away, if there's anything, about being in that experience? Any pinch me moments that you've had?
Yeah, I'll start with the pinch me moment because I know exactly what it is. It was stepping on the track, and because we have a pro group here, and having multiple Olympians and some of the biggest names in track and field on the track. Because coming from D3, those are like the celebrities to me.
Sure.
And then so to walk into the track and see, at the time it was Hunter and Tara Woodhall, and see like all these big names, Ryan Krauser would be there, just like these people that I've been looking up to and be like, wow, I'm sharing a track with these people. Like I'm at practice with them. That was my pinch me moment. That was a cool experience. And what was the first part again?
Just like, how has it stacked up to what your expectations were? How has your experience been a couple years in?
Yeah, Arkansas is a great place. It probably has exceeded all my expectations. I don't think I would have it's funny because when I was a D3 athlete, me and my friends would always out of envy, but make fun of the Division 1 athletes because they get all the nice gear, they take these charter flights, and they get treated well because they're high level athletes. And when I was D3, you're kind of envious, but you're just like, dang, I wish I had that. But then since I've been at Arkansas in Division 1 so long, when I'll go back and visit my old teammates who are still competing at D3, they would make fun of me and be like, "Oh, you're the pampered D1 athlete now," and kind of shoot their shot. But yeah, Arkansas has treated me very well, and I've loved every second of it.
And Marcus, I'm curious because I know that you have a multi-sport background. There's no question about that. I think that's what it takes to be excellent in a discipline like the decathlon.
Yeah.
But how the heck did you get to do the decathlon? Because that's one that is, if it's not known by those out there, it's running, jumping, throwing, like you name it, you're competing in it as a part of the decathlon. So when did that vessel of track kind of become clear to you if you could pursue that?
Yeah, kind of just my senior year of high school. I didn't even know I really wanted to do college sports through high school because I was a good athlete in high school, but I didn't necessarily take it super seriously. I mean, I always showed up to practice and I always worked hard, but I didn't put in the extra work outside of practice. And then senior year of track, I was better than I thought I could have been. So then I was able to go to Eau Claire. And then I don't even remember who told me, but a coach somewhere in my high school career mentioned the decathlon, just said, have you ever thought about it? And then I Googled it and was like, what is a decathlon? Because I'd never heard of it before. And I just looked at it. I was like, that sounds awesome. Because I just like doing everything, just trying everything and having fun with it. And as soon as I heard about it, I just that's what I want to do. So going into my freshman year of college, I told my coach I want to try the decathlon because I had a background that was fairly good for it. I had pole vaulted a little, I had high jump some, and I had hurdled some.
Sure.
So it's those are kind of the three ones you could like to see if you had never tried it before. And then my college coach was like, yeah, we're going to start it and we're going to try, and kind of the rest is history after that.
So we had talked about it when I asked you the first question about interacting with folks off of the track in Eugene. But what is your view on the impact that sport can have on people and on the idea that in something like track, you're seeing the most kind of, how do I want to say it? Unaffected or unchanged, I guess, pure athleticism. How does that impact people, and how do you want to use that platform to continue to do that?
I think the way it's impacted me the most is life lessons, to be honest, because whenever I'm done with track, I'll get old and whatever, and my career be over, and I won't be young and athletic my whole life. So I won't be able to high jump 6'11" my whole life, like it's just, or 6'10". So that'll run out at some point. But the biggest things I took away is like the determination and the hard work and the perseverance. And like I know those are kind of like cliches, but how hard I've worked at just track and like everything I've got out of it really taught me that like if there's something I want to do in my life, if I put all my effort towards it, I can do it. Like even if there's something that like most people are like, oh, that'd be hard, I don't know if you could do it. It's like if, and I think this can go for anybody, but if you have determination and perseverance and just work hard and stay after year after year after year, you are going to achieve what you want to achieve. And even if you don't get to that one final top goal, you're going to make it further than you ever thought you could. And so those are the biggest things I learned from just like what track has done for me. And I think that can apply to anybody in any part of their life.
Sure. Sure. It's the adage of when you shoot for the moon and you hit the stars, you can't be upset, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's the whole deal. I appreciate hearing that from you. I really do. Man, that's such an interesting deal. Like, what, Marcus, motivates you? And has that changed over time? And what is your guiding light, your North Star?
What motivates me now is my biggest thing that keeps me pushing is probably family.
Okay.
Like family and friends, they're kind of the whole same category because they really are at the end of the day the ones who are always rooting for you in the ups and the downs. But then also is I have this idea of I don't want to be done with track until I feel like I've pushed my body to its limits. So I have goals of what I want to score in the decathlon and what place I want to get at what meet. But my biggest goals are like, I want to be able to retire and say, I pushed my body to its limits so I can hang my hat up on that at the end of my career. That's kind of what pushes me and keeps me going. And it's funny because it has changed when I was younger, especially at Division III, I started getting some limelight that I hadn't had before, and I loved it. And that was a big motivator for me when I was younger. Just like, wow, like people are talking to me, people are like, I'm getting notoriety, just all this stuff. Like I love that feeling when it started to kind of happen, and it's shifted in the past couple of years just because I feel like I've gotten a little older, and not that I don't love the limelight at all anymore. I still do like it, but my motivations have changed a little bit as I've grown up.
Sure. Sure. And then I'm curious, this is something that I commonly ask any athlete, like talking about the pressure to perform, right? And the idea that your identity is, which it's a misnomer, which I'm guessing that you're going to have something to say about, is the idea that your identity is derived from the score that you put up.
Yeah.
From the heights that you can jump and from the speed that you can run. Like, what was that like for you for being a younger athlete and maybe feeling on that of the equation, and then going to, if you have experienced a moment where it's headed the other way, it's like now I'm deriving my identity from somewhere else, you know?
Yeah. I think when I was at my Division III school, it was all positive because I was competing well. I was winning national titles. I was setting national records. So like my identity with how well I competed was positive because I was competing. Sure. And so I didn't really struggle with anything like that. But then my first 2 years at Arkansas, not that I wasn't competing well, because I qualified for outdoor nationals my first year, and then I even All-Americaned my second year indoor. So I had some success, but what happened is I was injured by the end of outdoor season both years. And then so those 2 years were actually really hard on me because I was like, I just spent 9-10 months putting every ounce of effort I have into this. And then to feel like I didn't even get to showcase how much I had grown as an athlete because I was injured by the time of like showtime, like nationals or like US trials or Olympic trials. I even qualified for Olympic trials and wasn't able to compete because of injury. Just like the mental side of that being like, now I'm struggling with who I am because my identity was so locked up with me as an athlete, and now I can't compete. I like, to be full honest, at the beginning of this past year, I was close to quitting track. I had a couple of conversations with my parents, like, I don't know if I can do this for a third year of pouring in 10 months of effort and all this stuff for them to have it turn on me and not go how I wanted to. So I had a lot of conversations, and I had a lot of conversations with my trainers and just everybody, just to be like, is this what I want? And ultimately it was like, I'm not done with wanting to compete. I was just done with how painful the injuries were. So it's like, you can't control that, but I can control me continue to show up and put in effort. So it's like, I'm not going to give up on my dreams yet. So it mainly just was like, I got to keep going. And if it goes good or bad, I got to take it with how it comes, because that's just kind of life, to be honest. And it luckily went very well for me this year. So that was a good thing to, to have happen. But I think, I don't know if I've fully like moved past it or grown, but I've definitely grown a little bit in the last couple of years of having to separate your identity with just you as an athlete.
Yes. Yes. How do you define growth?
To me, it's just improvement in this aspect. Because I feel like you almost never, at least in some things, you never reach a point where you feel like I'm done growing, because there's always going to be a new scenario, a new situation where you need more growth to go through that. But I feel like handling situations as they come up and like getting past it, I now have more information on how to, like, if this situation's happened again, I know what I did last time to then help me through it this time. So I feel like growth for me is just improvement and going through things. So I'm more prepared for things in the future. I
Mm.
feel like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's the best word of advice, Marcus, that you've received from a coach or from family or just in general? What's the best word you've heard?
Yeah. Just a quick light one. My old football coach in high school used to say, "Don't think, don't suck." And
Mm.
I use that a lot, because a lot of times in the decathlon, since there's so many events, if you're overthinking all the little things, you're going to not be competing well. So you need this kind of thing in the back of your head, just go compete. Like, you obviously need to know what you're trying to accomplish and trying to execute. But if you're overthinking everything, you're holding yourself back. So it's just like, you're prepared, practice prepares you. And in the meet, just go compete and don't overthink it, and you do well. So I like
Mm.
that little thing a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. You just brought up a point that I did not write down, but I hope you're cool with it because I want to
Yeah.
get on it. Is like when you're in the middle of the decathlon, you get a chance to go and speak to coaches and
Yeah.
tweak things. Like, what does that do as far as your clarity for your direction? And are there things that you do, tips that you have to not overcomplicate after you're hearing that word from those coaches?
Yeah. I think the nicest thing about the two coaches I've had since I've been at Arkansas, and Rob Jarvis, the coach I work with now, who's a great guy, love him. But I think as decathlete coaches, they know cues need to be short and simple, because you have so much going on. So
Sure.
usually, at least the coaches I've worked with, they're not trying to give you like, you need to do this, and this to go execute your high jump. It's more like, do this, or maybe it's two things. But like, coaches try to keep it simple, because otherwise you have too much going on. And when you're high jumping or pole vaulting, it all happens in a second or a split second. So it's like, you can't be trying to think about five things. You need one thing to be clear and focused on to go execute what you need to do. And so I think that comes from, at least for me, just I've been able to work with really good coaches who have helped me with that.
Yes. Yes, and talking about track as a whole, right? Like track has undergone some growth as far as how it's seen on the American stage and
Yeah.
across the world, I would say. But I've got to ask you, like, what is your opinion on where it's at in the college space, in the professional space, here in the States? And then the second part to that, but focus on the first part here, let's not
Yeah.
overcomplicate,
Yeah.
is what would you recommend to continue to enhance the thing and grow it?
Yeah. I think track is in a good spot. I feel like it's been growing slowly in the past couple of years, and like
Sure.
people are saying trackflation. That's for the times, but also it's like, when times are getting faster and records are being broken, it only brings in more people to come watch. So I think that is going hand in hand to help.
Sure.
So I do think track is in a good spot
Hmm.
overall. There's always room for improvement, because like it's nowhere near compared to anything like football or basketball or baseball, these other sports that are
Cool.
like dominant in the United States. But some things that I would suggest, and like, it's funny because I love this question, because I feel like as a track athlete, I've talked about this a lot, just like either with your teammates or your friends or other people
Sure.
ask you. And I think ways to grow the sport have to be on the viewership side. because if you think about football and basketball and baseball, you have your 2 hour game that you can sit down at night with your family or friends or whatever and put on the TV and watch it and then go to bed. But track is an 8 hour event and the big meets are a week long. So it's like the average person isn't tuning in to watch every single event for 8 hours of the day for multiple days. And if you just go watch the prelims, then you think they won that race, but then you didn't even watch the final. So that's the actual winner. So like, it's just there's so much going on where if you would have truly like streamline track and make it popular, something has to happen with the schedule and the viewership and make it like easy for viewers to watch. Otherwise, I feel like the average person isn't going to tune in for 8 hours. That's just too much for them to handle. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how you do that, but I think there needs to be something with making it more viewable for the average person.
Sure, man. I like that. I like that. I know Grand Slam is trying something, but the issue is there's no field. It's like, man, like, come on, we got to be holistic about our approach here.
Yeah, and the thing that I think did backfired with Grand Slam is now they're not paying all their athletes. So I think it's gonna maybe even get even worse with us trying to do something big and spectacular, and then we're not even paying what we said we did. So that doesn't help.
Here's a trivia question, but do you happen to know what Michael Johnson's Instagram bio is?
I don't.
His bio is 12-time world medalist, 12 gold, 0 silver, 0 bronze.
Is that actually his bio? That's crazy. That's funny.
Man, and yet you can't pay everybody. Man, let's get it right here. Come on. Marcus, that's hilarious. Hey, thank you for your time, man. I really appreciate it. You know, there are a couple more places I want to go as far as the Arkansas facilities, right?
Yeah.
Like I told you, I went to see Cindy. I went to get a pump in at that weight room there. Like, what do you think about the advantage that having this treatment center and this weight room poses in the SEC and in the national landscape?
Yeah, it's a huge advantage, especially from like what I compare it with to where I came from. Just thinking about the athletic trainers, just that specifically. At my previous school, we had 3 or 4 full-time athletic trainers for men and women's sports, all sports. We have 3 full-time trainers for men's and women's track. So we already, and that's not even to include any of the student trainers. We have probably 10 or more of those who rotate through. So like the amount of attention that we can get to maintain our bodies and stay healthy, as long as you're utilizing that, is such a huge advantage. And I feel like a lot of schools have that, but we have it right off for outdoor track. We have multiple tables. We have our hot tubs or cold tubs. We have like anything you could think that you would want directly a 10-step walk right off the track. So as soon as you're done with practice, you go take care of your body, you do what you need, you get your protein drink, whatever, and you go about your day knowing that I also worked hard on the track, but I worked hard in my recovery to make sure I'm taking care of all the little stuff. And I feel like for me, when I first came here, I wasn't used to that level because of Eau Claire just didn't have quite that facility. And so I didn't do the rehab. I didn't do the treatment. And so I had to learn how to take care of my body at this high level. And since then, I've done a much better job and have been healthy after utilizing what we have and what's available to me. So
Sure. Are you somebody who takes pride and enjoys researching how to maximize the training and the diet and recovery and all these different things? Or are you just fly by seat of pants? I'll listen to what they say and we'll go.
Yeah, I'd say I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't always do the most research out of everybody, but I like to know like why I'm doing things. So like when I'm with my trainers and I'm doing this or that, I always ask like why or like do this because like or I'll ask them like what's this body part or what's this tendon or blah 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 because I want to have an understanding. So then I feel like I'll be able to move forward better if I know what's going on instead of just listening. Because like if I'm just like if they just say do this, then I did it and I don't know why, then it's like my brain understands more if they're like this is why you're doing it and everything. So I do like a little bit of research and I want to have like a general idea of what's going on, but I don't necessarily get on my computer and do hours of research for all the little things.
Man, let me ask you one more thing and then we'll go into a rapid fire segment.
Okay.
Done. Man, if you had a word of advice that you could give to the next generation of decathlon athletes who are coming up, what would that be?
The first thing that comes to mind is just don't give up. I feel like and being around other athletes for the last 6 years, everybody has these moments where they're doubting it or struggling with their performances or their injuries, or there's always these moments of struggle and doubt. And the second that you give into those, then it won. Then the struggle won or the doubt won, because then you either quit or you stopped. You're not pushing it as hard. But as long as you keep pushing and you keep just like don't quit, it will never win. So the second you give in, those struggles and that doubt win. So it's just like you always have to keep pushing and go through the hard times, because you'll find those performances or those PRs or those good moments where it makes it all worth it. So just like that was the biggest thing that I've learned in my career, is just to never quit.
Yes. Yes. Before we get to the rolling loud rapid fire, let me hit a woo.
Can you do it 3 times? You gotta do the woo.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
It's a whole thing.
Man, huge. That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. So let's go into the rolling loud rapid fire with Bryan Rector and today my man Marcus Weaver. Right before we get out of here, appreciate your time, and I got a few more for you as we get it going. So, if you could ascribe one word to your life currently right now, what would that be?
Excitement.
Okay. Why?
Because I just graduated college. I'm going to be helping assistant coach Arkansas's track team with the multis. I'm going to be training with them. I feel like this is a point in my life where I really get to make some big like changes and moves and growth. And it's like, because I'm out of college and now I'm excited to make this next step. I don't even know exactly what it is, but it's just like, I feel like the door is open and I can do whatever. So I'm excited for whatever comes next.
Yes, man. What does your training playlist sound like? Talk me through that.
Ooh, lately it's been a lot of like some metal, some rock, some alternative rock, like Creed. I've been jamming out to Creed lately. One Last Breath, Take Me Higher, anything like that. That'll get me going for a good.
Can you take me? Man, I love that. That's fantastic. That's a good group right there. I resonate with Creed a whole lot. Lot. So, Marcus, you are from the Midwest, but you've been able to go to school and do some training and some things in the South. Which of the regions, do you resonate more with? Are you a Southern guy or are you sticking to the Midwest roots?
I'm a Midwest guy at heart. I actually really like Arkansas. I have loved it a lot more than I thought I would. Okay. So it's closer to the Midwest than I thought it would be. But yeah, the Midwest really calls to me, and maybe it's because that's where my family is.
Sure,
so it just has that connection with it. But yeah, Midwest is my home.
When you get out there and do go fishing, what is your favorite thing to catch?
Northern pike and bass. Okay. Northern pike are my favorite because they're just so aggressive. They get big too. Like you can catch a 15-pound pike, so that's fun. But they're just so aggressive. They come and hit it as hard as they can, and they fight good. So yeah, it's just an exciting fish to catch.
Man. And then let me ask you one more thing. Is there anybody who you'd like to shout out, give gratitude for, and appreciate as we dive off here?
Yeah, honestly, just my coaches. Every coach I've had through my whole career has helped shape me and get me to where I am today. So starting from high school, shout out Bruce Clark, great guy, great. And then my coach at Eau Claire taught me to love and work hard for track. So Coach Chip, just great coach. Love everything with him. And then Geffy taught me everything I need to know about decathlon. Just a great coach. And then my latest coach, Rob Jarvis, has really taken me to a new level. And I've only had 1 year with him, but I'm so excited to work with him for multiple more years. And just, yeah, all my coaches through my career, I want to shout out all them.
Shout out the coaches. Hey,
coaches.
Hey, I told you we were done. I lied. I'll give you one more. In order for 2025 to be complete, what would need to happen for you?
Honestly, just have a good experience with my new assistant coaching role. I feel like I completed everything I wanted to for my own track career this year, and not even just like point goals, because I didn't even put together a meet that well this year, because the two meets I was doing my best at, I actually no heighted in the pole vault, so that's not great, but it happens. But it really was just I proved that I can compete at a very high level, and I stayed healthy all year. So just those two things completed everything I needed to for my personal track career. But one thing I would like is, because I'm going to be a coach in the future, and that's going to be my career forever. And so I want these last couple months of 2025 to go smoothly on starting to coach, and see what gets thrown at my way.
Absolutely. Man, Mr. Weaver, thank you so much for taking
Of
the
course.
time with the Rec Room. Really appreciate you. And folks, that's what we have for today. Bryan Rector, Marcus Weaver, the Rec Room, episode 41.